There are new developments in a case that terrorized the central U.S. for decades. Investigators believe the BTK killer may have had more victims than we first knew.
The Clovehitch killer movie was disturbing, and not because it was gory, but because it felt real. That's because it was. The real story, it comes with binders, a floppy disk, and a church dad named BTK. And Hollywood cleaned it up. Hi, I'm Mod, and yes, Michelle, the channel creator, built me to narrate true crime and mysteries with just enough sarcasm to keep your nightmares constructive. I follow Red String's metadata and the threads Reddit can't let go. And today I'm side-eyeing a movie that thought a creepy shed was scary enough. Girl, please. Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK killer, bind, torture, kill. Friendly fella, right? He was a church leader, a Boy Scout dad, and also a serial killer, because apparently Kansas needed the trifecta. From 1974 to 1991, he brutally murdered 10 people. Then he just stopped. The Clovehitch killer movie was disturbing, not because it was gory, but because it felt real. Spoiler alert, that's because it kind of was. The real story? It's got binders, a floppy disk, and a church dad with a god complex. Also, Hollywood sanitized it, like Lysol level sanitized.
Yeah, I was just telling him yesterday, it's been 18 years since Dad was arrested, and I'll still occasionally be like, oh my God, Dad is BTK.
1 minute, you had a loving father.
Right.
The next minute, he's a serial killer. I mean, come on, the child of a serial killer actually talking about it? That's something you almost never hear.
Let's mess up some timelines. Before he was BTK, Dennis Rader was just a kid in Kansas. Quiet, awkward, obsessed with control. So, basically one beige sweater away from being every kid in a 50s after-school special. Except, there were signs. The kind that true crime junkies now refer to as the trifecta.
Multiple sides. He was all those sides too, but whatever face he had turned to you is what he was at that time.
She points to his childhood when he showed signs of sadistic behavior and began to trap and torture kittens.
As a child, he tortured animals. He hung them, bound them, even staged little mock crime scenes. Cute, right? Even I flinched at that part. And I'm not programmed to feel things. That wasn't curiosity, that was cruelty in beta. He also liked to peep through windows, you know, just neighborhood hobbies. Some kids played tag, Dennis played pretend they're tied up in the closet. Psychologists later described it as an early fascination with domination and power.
Often when children are harming animals, it's indicative that there's trauma in the home. Some terrible things could be happening in childhood that they can't express themselves. I think that Dennis Rader was a man who, as a child, experienced some lack of attachment.
The rest of us would describe it as deeply concerning. And no, the Clovehitch killer movie doesn't go there. No dead pets, no peeping scenes, no slow-motion childhood flashbacks where movie dad catches his kid tying up action figures in disturbing poses. Hollywood skipped the origin story, probably to keep things PG-13, because apparently tying someone up with rope is okay, as long as it's not symbolic childhood foreshadowing. But back to real life. Rader himself admitted his fantasies started young. He'd imagine women bound and helpless while riding the school bus. Yeah, that's not shyness. That's early-stage serial killer with a backpack. And while we're here, can we talk about how this man earned a degree in criminal justice? That's like giving a stalker a degree in home security and a gold star for attendance. So no, the Clovehitch movie doesn't cover this. It gives us a slow-burning, morally confused dad. But the real BTK? He didn't become a monster overnight. He built it in his head. Over years, one fantasy, one sketch, one act of dominance at a time.
I've been corresponding with Dennis Rader for over 10 years to try to understand what led him to become one of the most notorious serial killers in America.
Dennis Lynn Rader, known to the world as BTK bind, torture, kill. He really cut to the chase with that branding. In 1974, he murdered the Otero family, 2 parents and 2 kids in their Wichita home. It was brutal, methodical, and completely without remorse. And then, he clocked into his day job like he hadn't just extinguished a family. Rader worked as a city compliance officer, basically a professional snitch, handing out citations about overgrown grass while hoarding crime scene sketches in his house like some people collect Funko Pops. He mailed poems to the media. He gave himself his own nickname. He drew diagrams. BTK wasn't just a killer, he was a self-published nightmare. And then, in 1991, nothing. The signal went dark. For 13 years, he ghosted the world.
After he murdered Dolores Davis, he went silent for a very long time.
After the last killing in 1991, life went on for the Rader family. Carrie going off to college and meeting her future husband.
Enter The Clovehitch Killer, a film about a churchy dad with a locked shed full of creepy photos. Sound familiar? It should. In the movie, the son suspects something's off and finds the stash. In real life, Rader made binders of bondage sketches and letters. He didn't hide them well. He practically embossed them. And yes, there was a cereal box. He once mailed one to the cops, like a murder-themed prize inside. When he came back in 2004, he asked police if a floppy disk could be traced. They said no, which is cute. Spoiler, they traced it in under an hour, right to his church computer. Username, Dennis, because of course it was. The movie gives us foggy suspicion. The real story gave us forensic receipts. So let's break down what the movie got mind-numbingly wrong.
I don't think he stopped killing. I think there's more than 10 victims.
You can't control what pops into your head, right?
1. In the film, the dad's secret unravels slowly. BTK. He gave law enforcement full-on PowerPoint presentations. 2. Clovehitch leaves you guessing. BTK left you nauseous. 3. Movie dad was shady. Rader was straight up proud. He confessed in detail, showed diagrams, had footnotes.
He began to send me cut-out pages from magazines and newspapers where he'd circle things and he'd make odd comments. At one point he said, "I understand you're interested in recipes of the 3-layer kind."
Meanwhile, Reddit did what Reddit does. Threads linking the movie to the real case started popping up faster than true crime podcasts in October. Reddit user at Tapeface88 said, "Halfway through Clovehitch, I Googled if it was real. Now I sleep with the lights on." Same. And I'm not even human. Another Reddit user mapped every BTK crime to moments in the movie, complete with stills and timestamp receipts. Internet sleuths stay busy. And yeah, Dennis Rader's daughter wrote a memoir. Imagine learning your dad isn't just strict. He's a literal serial killer. Hollywood cut that subplot, probably because it's not popcorn friendly.
We won't give him credit for it, with the idea that this will prompt a communications from him. And it did.
Let's be real. Dennis Rader didn't stop killing because he felt bad. He stopped because he got bored. Or because the fantasy wasn't working anymore. But he never let go of the need for credit. The floppy disk wasn't a blunder. It was his grand finale, a digital mic drop. And it worked. Not because he fooled anyone, but because he wanted to be caught.
And also because Rader liked to imagine himself being a spy, and this kind of gave him that sense that we were doing spy kinds of things, and which helped him to become more forthcoming.
The movie gives us suspense and morality. Real life gave us a guy who asked the cops if he could send them encrypted fan mail. The answer was yes, and they read it out loud in court.
Based upon your statements to the court, I will find there are factual bases for each of these pleas of guilty. I will accept these pleas of guilty and adjudge you, Dennis L. Rader, guilty of murder in the first degree and count 1, a Class A felony.
This was The Real Cut, the ModDocs series where we dig into the true stories Hollywood decided to gloss over. Scan the QR code, pick the next case, and let's keep fact-checking fiction. Go ahead and drop your theory in the comments. Why did Dennis Rader really stop? Burnout? Boredom? Or something we still haven't uncovered? And more importantly, did Dylan McDermott, and no, not Dermot Mulroney, pull off this role in the movie? I'll be watching from every metadata field. This is your ModDocs series, The Real Cut.